Despite the early 20th century origin of Breuer's designs, his design principles are still evident today. Research into functionalism, which is closely connected to his work in the Bauhaus, is still on the rise. The Bauhaus School of Design was founded in 1919 by Walter Gropius after World War I. Its objective was to unite all branches of design with the aim of rebuilding society following the principles of cost-effective, functional mass production. The Bauhaus was not characterized by preconceived thought, but rather by the individualism of its students in society. Bauhaus designers would go on to shape modern art and design for decades to come. Marcel Breuer was a modernist architect and furniture designer born in Hungary in 1902. He began his design journey studying painting at the Academy of Fine Arts in Vienna before quickly realizing he disliked the program and shifted into architecture. At the young age of 18, Breuer moved to Germany to enroll in the Bauhaus School of Design. Breuer was promoted to the head of the carpentry shop by Gropius within the first year, which prompted his most notable design, the Wesley chair, which carved the way for the use of tubular steel in furniture design. Until the early 1930s, Breuer supported himself through income generated largely from the Wesley chair before moving to London in 1936. Employed by Jack Pritchard as the head of design at Isoken, Breuer designed the long chair. The long chair was one of the earliest examples of organic plywood furniture in modern design. Breuer specialized in the manufacture of plywood furniture, which carved the way for the use of plywood during and post-World War II. Breuer's long chair highlighted the soft, warm architecture that was favored by the British in the 20th century. The following year, Breuer left Europe to join Gropius in teaching architecture at Harvard University in Massachusetts. Breuer and Gropius greatly influenced the establishment of modern homes in America by focusing on the immediate, practical aims of architecture. One of their most notable projects was the furniture and interior for the Frank House, which was a pioneer of modern housing in America. Breuer moved to New York in 1946 to establish his own architectural practice with a focus on homes being machined for living in. Built after World War II, the Geller House I was aimed toward families attempting to rebuild their lives with separate zones for living and sleeping. Modernism first emerged in the early 20th century and marked a major shift in art, architecture, and design. By the 1920s, the Bauhaus designers had a reputable reputation, but it wasn't until after World War II that modernism's popularity expanded. Modernism refers to the 20th century design movement, bringing with it a new set of principles promoting change in culture and society after the previous failure of architecture to meet basic social needs. While the industry was searching for a coherent strategy in the new era of high-rise buildings and mass housing, Breuer's work was at the forefront of the modernist shift in architecture. In 1963, the Whitney Museum of American Art decided to establish a new image in New York's Upper East Side and felt that Breuer was the best selection for the design process. His design was intentionally different from the other commercial buildings on Madison Avenue, which were defined by the international style that was slowly on the rise. Modernization is evident through Breuer's later use of international style as it embraced the machine age and showed no ties to historical design. Modernity is concerned with the design feeling modern, highlighting the importance of anti-historicism. Marcel Breuer was recognized as one of the most influential pioneers of international style. International style emerged after World War I and was associated with the development of construction techniques that emerged with the Industrial Revolution. Traditional forms of design that pose no relation to function were becoming outdated in the new industrialized world. Characterized by lightweight, mass-produced materials, international style helped aid in rebuilding a purposeful society after the war era, giving rise to the modern principles of design. International style was introduced to America through MoMA's first architectural show, Modern Architecture International Exhibition, where Breuer helped spread the international style and its principles throughout the US. The principles of modern design were prevalent in Breuer's work and still are today. The Bauhaus was heavily concerned with the idea that architecture should consist only of what it needs to function. Modernist design embraced minimalism by eliminating ornament and focusing on a design's rational use. Breuer respected materials in their basic form to aid in mass production and eliminate unnecessary costs. A prime example of modernist design principles in Breuer's work is through his use of furnishings in the Allen I.W. Frank House. Geometric shapes without ornament allow the furnishings to appear fluid, capturing the idea that the home is a machine for living in. The Bauhaus defined and shaped the role of designers as drivers of social and cultural change. Modernist architecture became more dominant in the 20th century due to advancing technologies causing a rise in mass-produced materials. Breuer envisioned design to respond to societal needs and accept the challenge of advancing technologies. The arrival of streamlined locomotives, airplanes, and automobiles offered better communication, transportation, and the mass production of materials in the machine age. Keeping in touch with advancing technologies, new materials, and machinery, designers had the means to impact daily life. The principle of truth to materials required materials to be used in their honest form. Concrete was praised by students of the Bauhaus for its strength, durability, and thermal mass, and was able to remain minimalistic in structure and form. Although architectural glass can be dated back to the 11th century, the Bauhaus revolutionized the use of glass curtain walls, later becoming a hallmark of modern architecture. Modernist architecture conceived the structure of a building as a skeleton enclosed by a light shell, rather than columns resting heavily on the earth. Nendo, founded by Oki Sato in 2002, is a Japanese design firm aiding in the design of interior architecture, furniture, and graphics. In 2005, Sato opened a second firm in Milan, as this is where the inspiration for Nendo started. Similar to the works of Breuer, Nendo is concerned with the simplicity and the elimination of ornament. Nendo's bamboo steel collection revitalized Taiwan's traditional bamboo furniture using tubular steel, which was brought to light by Breuer. Sato explains that Nendo allows their designs to speak for themselves while remaining minimalistic. He highlights the importance of reducing objects down to their raw form, which is indicative of the Bauhaus principles. Nendo's Thin Black Lines exhibition is an example of minimalistic tubular steel work, which gives a nod to Breuer's introduction of tubular steel to furniture design. Nendo wanted his designs to appear like drawings in mid-air, morphing from the hand-drawn floor. The purpose was to apply practical functions to simple, transparent surfaces, a reminder that form should follow function with an absolute expression of minimalism. Without any obvious ties to historicism, Nendo's inspiration came from the linear shape found in Japanese calligraphy. What I found most interesting is Nendo's lifestyle complex built in 1997, the Kashiyama Daikanyama. Giving rise to the notion that design is values made visible, the Kashiyama Daikanyama architecture is used as a marketing tool to communicate its values. The building is decorated with greenery on every visible corner, and much like the Bauhaus, its large windows allow light to enter with ease. Similar to the Alan I.W. Frank House, its interior is uniquely executed with different materials and subtle colours in coherence with the exterior to bring the outdoors in. The 20th century design movement marked a major shift in culture and society, and Breuer's influence on modernisation continues to impact design today. Many of today's architectural designs can trace their origin back to his early work in international style. Like Nendo, many designers can pay their respects to Breuer's acceptance of advancing technologies and the impact it had on design in the machine age world.